At first glance, North Bay looks like an idyllic little town in Canada. The rural area seems peaceful and inviting to tourists. The reality, however, is quite different. North Bay has a high crime rate, and violent crimes are a daily occurrence here. Today, we're focusing on Luke Joly-Durocher, who vanished without a trace from a bar right there in 2011. Luke Joly-Durocher was born on June 28, 1990, in Témiscamingue, Quebec. He grew up in the small town with his parents, Monique Durocher and Rob Joly, and his two sisters, Priscilla and Sarah. His parents divorced when he was a child, but remained friends. Luke always has a smile on his face and is known for his warm and outgoing nature. He loves hockey and music and plays the piano and guitar. He dreams of becoming a famous musician one day. In 2011, Luke is 20 years old. He has curly brown hair and a noticeable scar on his right forearm. He now lives in his own apartment, but in March, he visits his father in North Bay, Ontario. The area is quiet, but crime in the city is higher than one might expect for the region. Drugs, in particular, play a major role in the area. When Rob has to work overtime on March 3rd at the paper mill where he works, Luke stays overnight with friends in North Bay in an apartment at 683 Sherbrooke Street. On the evening of March 4th, Luke decides to go to Cecile's Eatery and Beer Society with his friends. It is shortly before midnight when the group arrives at the bar at 11:54 p.m. Luke is slightly intoxicated and is therefore turned away by the bouncer. His friends don't notice this at first, and when they look around for him, Luke has already disappeared. A surveillance camera still shows him leaving the bar and disappearing into the night. His friends think he may have gone to the bar next door and send him several messages, to which they receive no reply. That evening, Luke is wearing a navy blue American Eagle jacket, dark blue jeans, and black New Balance shoes. Particularly noticeable is a purple belt, which the police mention repeatedly later on. The next morning, a friend with whom Luke had been out the day before waits for him in vain. The two had planned to drive back to Témiscamingue together. When Luke doesn't show up, he texts him but receives no reply. His family can't reach him either and begins to worry. When Luke doesn't show up for his sister Sarah's birthday party on Sunday, March 6th, their concerns grow. It's completely out of character for Luke to miss a family celebration without at least letting them know he wouldn't be coming. When no one had heard from Luke by March 7th either, Monique drove to North Bay to the apartment of his friends where he had been staying. There, she made a disturbing discovery. Luke's jacket, his cell phone, his keys, and even his glasses were still in the apartment. Items he would not voluntarily leave behind for several days. Monique took the items and officially reported her son missing. The police seize Luke's belongings and examine his cell phone more closely. The last message Luke sent was to his father at 8:51 p.m. on the day of his disappearance, asking him to drive him back home the next day. Surveillance footage from Cecil's Eatery and Beer Society shows Luke, after leaving the bar, first walking to the left and then turning around to head west on Main Street. There, he is later seen in front of the Sioux Night Club, and shortly thereafter in front of a bank branch. The bank's surveillance footage shows an unknown man who appears to be following him. He cannot be identified from the footage, and it is unclear whether he has anything to do with Luke's disappearance. Luke's debit card is used for the last time on the evening of his disappearance. He withdraws $20 and does not appear to use the card again afterward. On March 15th, 11 days after his disappearance, a pedestrian finds Luke's bank card in a snowdrift on the 500 block of Sherbrooke Street, near the apartment where he had been staying. On March 19, 2011, police search the eastern part of downtown North Bay. A tracking dog manages to pick up Luke's scent. It leads the investigators first to Sherbrooke Street, then to Main Street, and finally to Kinsman Trail. There, it stops at the bank of Chippewa Creek and barks. This gives rise to the theory that Luke may have fallen into the river. The 20-year-old's mysterious disappearance causes a major stir in the community and in the media. The police step up their efforts over the next few days. In April 2011, they comb through an area around the city. 2 months later, on June 16, 2011, divers search Lake Nipissing after receiving a tip from the public that Luke's body is believed to be there. But none of the searches yield any useful clues. Luke's parents are deeply disappointed by the investigation. It isn't until 6 weeks after their son's disappearance that the apartment where he last stayed is searched. The search yields no evidence suggesting a crime, nor does it reveal anything else that might explain Luke's disappearance. However, potential perpetrators would have had several weeks to cover their tracks. As the police run out of leads, the search for Luke gradually winds down, and eventually, the investigation is almost entirely suspended. In March 2016, 5 years after Luke's disappearance, the North Bay Police Department increases the reward for information in Luke's case from $10,000 to $50,000. A few months later, on June 14, 2016, the police search a house on Bolsher Street in Temiskaming. It is not known why this location came under the investigators' scrutiny. Yet despite intensive efforts, the search remains unsuccessful this time as well. In October 2019, investigators announced a new development in the case at a press conference. They had discovered that Luke was seen at Shooter's Bar on Delaware Street on the evening of his disappearance. According to witness statements, he was there in the company of several people, and an employee recalled seeing him last around 3 a.m. on the morning of March 5th. Another patron reportedly offered to give him a ride, after which he is said to have left the bar with at least one other person. Soon after, additional witnesses come forward who can confirm these statements. In addition, authorities announce that they have posted posters along highways 11, 17, and 63 featuring Luke's photo and a phone number for tips to draw more attention to the case. The police also admit that, although they have followed up on several hundred leads in recent years, they made mistakes in the early stages, as rumors and misinformation severely hampered their investigation. Authorities now believe that Luke was the victim of a crime and has died. Several theories have emerged in recent years regarding exactly what might have happened. We will now discuss a few of them. Rob Joly, Luke's father, believes that Luke was killed because he owed someone money. He suspects the man seen in the surveillance footage. Rob assumes they went to the bank together to withdraw money. When Luke realized he didn't have his bank card with him, they went back to the apartment on Sherbrooke Street to get it. It's possible that Luke realized there that he had lost his card, or that the man took it and then killed Luke. 2 women claimed they saw Luke being beaten to death and his body being dumped nearby. However, both statements turned out to be false. One of the women was even sentenced to nearly 2 years in prison for making false statements and obstructing justice. In court, Rob Joly explained that these false leads had driven the family to the brink of despair. The woman who provided the false information showed remorse in court and tearfully apologized to the family. She explained that she had been suffering from severe mental and emotional problems and now hoped to receive the necessary treatment for her substance abuse and mental health issues. Rob concluded, however, that her apologies could not make up for what had happened, and that his family would never forget the ordeal they had to endure because of the false information. A second theory in the Luke Joly-Durocher case suggests that he may have accidentally drowned in Lake Nipissing due to his high blood alcohol level. However, this hypothesis is met with significant skepticism. Investigators consider an accident unlikely, as Shooter's Bar, where Luke was last seen, is located far from the water. Furthermore, Lake Nipissing was largely frozen over at the time of his disappearance, so it would have been noticed if someone had fallen through the ice. Investigators also say that his body would certainly have been found by then. Many still suspect, however, that Luke tried to take a shortcut home by walking across the frozen lake and fell through. By the next morning, the lake might have already refrozen where he fell through, which is why no one may have noticed. A third theory, which is being hotly debated, especially in online forums, suggests that Luke was trying to hitchhike back home and accidentally fell victim to a crime. However, this scenario seems quite unlikely. For one thing, just a few hours earlier, Luke had asked his father to drive him home the next day. And for another, he left several important items at his friend's apartment, without which he certainly wouldn't have driven home. In the years that followed, Rob Joly moved away from North Bay and settled in Chippewa, Quebec, just a short drive from Luke's former apartment. Every year on Luke's birthday, he thinks of his son and lights a candle. As he does so, he recalls Luke's words, "Lots of light for you, Dad." He sees it as his life's mission to solve the mystery of his son's disappearance. To that end, he seeks professional help in 2020. In 2020, Rob begins working closely with private investigator Ellen White, who specializes in missing persons cases. Their unusual partnership begins after Rob shares Luke's story at one of Ellen's events. Ellen is deeply moved by Rob's dedication and decides to support him after Luke's disappearance is officially classified as a cold case. Rob describes Ellen as a godsend. He finally feels understood and finds comfort in the fact that they are searching for answers together. One day, Ellen White and Rob investigate the basement of the apartment building where Luke last stayed. Several clues suggest that the basement plays a central role in Luke's disappearance. Several anonymous tipsters claim that Luke got into a fight near the apartment where he was staying, during which he is said to have been killed. The dispute is said to have been over $20. That would fit with the fact that he withdrew exactly that amount. An anonymous witness claims that Luke's body was taken from his friend's apartment through a trap door into a small niche beneath the basement. This trap door actually exists, and Ellen and Rob thoroughly search the basement hidden behind it. But unfortunately, their search yields no results. Ellen White passes the clues on to the police, but so far they have not been followed up on. A former police officer, who wishes to remain anonymous, criticizes the investigation and emphasizes that the case might have been solved long ago if the leads had been followed up on earlier. The basement was never searched, and cadaver dogs might have alerted there, which would have significantly advanced the investigators' work. Luke's sister Sarah makes an appeal to the public. "If anyone knows anything, I really encourage them to come forward. We are so desperately searching for answers. That's all I want. Answers." Rob also describes the family's ongoing despair. "Today, you are still missing. Still missing since that cold night in March 2011. Our hearts are empty. There is a void in all our lives. We continue to live in despair. We just want you back, wherever you may be." The family continues to hope that one day the truth about Luke's disappearance will come to light, and they can finally say goodbye. And that brings us to the end of today's video. What do you think happened to Luke on the night he disappeared? Do you think it was an accident or a murder? Feel free to leave a comment below. This also helps support this channel, because any interaction increases the likelihood that the video will be recommended to people who haven't subscribed to Insolito yet. Other than that, there isn't much more to say. I wish you a good morning, afternoon, or evening, whichever time you're watching this, and hope to see you again in the next video. Until then, ciao everyone.